Welcome, one and all, to a story of the most epic proportions. Thank you for joining us. When you think of a Western, you probably think cowboy versus Indian. But did you ever think that they could one day resolve their differences and join forces to stop foes in their tracks and fight alongside one another for truth and justice? Stay tuned to find out in our tale, The Strange Fate of Cowboy Joe and Dakota the Spirit Warrior. But first, a word from our sponsors. Winchester Rifles. Shoot well, work well, and wear well. The rough, hard usage that hunting rifles often receive requires them to be constructed on sound mechanical principles and of the best materials. All Winchester rifles are made so. Strength, accuracy, reliability of operation, and a general finish are all given careful attention. Nothing is left undone that will make them shoot well, work well, and wear well.
Hey, Gus, did you hear tell about that whippersnapping Cowboy Joe yesterday?
Shoot, I'll be darned if I didn't. He done riled up half the town when his Bronco went a-bucking through the churchyard.
Well, I don't know what that boy thinks he's doing, but with all that shenanigans and trying to earn himself fame and fortune and whatnot.
You darn right. Joe ought to just take after his paw and be a farmhand. Speak of the devil.
Bartender, give me a whiskey.
Ain't that gonna be a little strong for you, Joe?
Oh, lay off. Can't a cowboy enjoy a drink in peace?
All right, have it your way, cowboy.
Tarnation! Tarnation! My baby girl!
Well, say, ma'am, what's the hullabaloo?
My baby girl! She's been kidnapped! The hollering, hootin' nannies rode in last night and gone off with her.
I heard about that gang just last week. They robbed 3 banks in 3 hours and even stole Miss Bessie's rooster.
My precious little baby. They'll kill her for sure.
Now, hold on, ma'am. Let's take this outside and do some figuring.
Hell, don't worry your pretty little head. Old cowboy here will take care of it for you.
Now, what happened, madam?
My daughter didn't come down for her usual breakfast this morning, like she always does. I just went up to her room, all curious, and she was gone. The bed wasn't even made. Instead of finding her, all I found was this here note.
Dear Madam Sinclair, we done snuck into your house last night to make off with your diamonds. But once we got them all sacked up, we noticed that pretty little missy of yours and thought we'd just make off with her too. Don't even think about getting her back. Ain't nobody brave enough to try to take her from our hideout at the old abandoned Davis Ranch. Sincerely, the Hollerin' Hootin' Nannies.
She's gone forever. Cowboy, ain't she? Ain't there nothing to do? Nobody's got to be brave enough to go rescue her. I'd be willing to give half the diamonds they looted out of the basement to whoever could get the baby girl back to me. She's all I have.
Come on, Buck. We got us a dame to save.
Oh, you brave soul. Say, cowboy, what's your name?
The name's Joe, ma'am. Cowboy Joe.
As Joe approaches the abandoned ranch on his faithful steed, much to his surprise, a gunshot is heard to the west, and the next thing he knows, a bullet passes through his left shoulder and he hits the ground hard, nearly knocked unconscious. Just before the sharpshooting sniper could reload in time, a brave young Indian pulled the injured cowboy off into a shallow ravine for shelter. The cowboy blacks out and wakes up to the Indian tending to his wounds.
What's going on? Who are you?
My name is Dakota. My tribe is not far from here. When we heard about the Hootenannies' whereabouts, they sent me to rid them from our land. They have been terrorizing our land for many years, destroying our resources and slaughtering our wildlife. I must bring them to justice.
Well, I see. Well, I appreciate the fix-up. Much obliged. I didn't think the red men cared too much for our kind.
The others do not. But I see good in the white man. I know not what your purpose here is, but if you are going for the gang, I will help you.
Now, hold on. You ain't thinking about working together, are you? Now, I'm not here for no gang. I'm here for the pretty little lady, Miss Sinclair.
But the gang is terrorizing your people too, are they not?
Well, sure they are, but I don't care so much for the townsfolk. They don't care so much for me.
If you help me bring justice to the gang, I will help you find your pretty flower.
Fine. It's the least I can do for bringing me back from the dead. Just don't pull any Indian hocus-pocus out there. Let's ride.
Two unlikely compatriots come together as one to stop a force greater than the two can handle alone. As they approach the ranch, the sun setting on the desert plains, they make their move. Once inside the compound, the Indian sets up his attack from afar, while the cowboy provides security at the rear. The gang sits plotting their next move in quiet solitude, but the girl is nowhere to be found. As the Indian draws his bow to incapacitate the first outlaw, the cowboy unknowingly steps onto a rickety floorboard, alerting the gang of their presence, and the Indian misses his shot, hitting a nearby lantern. That explodes in a fiery blaze. The gang mounts their horses and rides off towards the mountain pass. The cowboy and Indian escape the inferno just in time before the compound collapses.
What in Sam hell were you aiming for? I told you no hocus pocus.
If you had not distracted me with your buffalo stump, I would have hit my mark.
Don't blame me, you scalper. I didn't know the floors would be working against us, too.
You are of no help to me, white man. I will leave you tend for yourself.
And just like that, the two unlikely compatriots separate spitefully. Dakota clears his mind by tracking the holler hootenannies on his own, while Cowboy Joe talks to his only friend by a warm campfire.
Buck, it's just you and me now, old boy. We'll ride yonder to save Miss Sinclair tomorrow.
Just before bedtime, Joe sends smoke signals in the light of the full moon to his cavalry of cowboys to meet up for the morning escapade.
It's a good thing horseback riding was so efficient back then, or else these heroes would never get to their destination in time. But have you heard about the latest renovation in solo transportation? A bicycle worthy of the name, and a name worthy of the bicycle. Spalding, the American bicycle. Don't get caught without one of these handy-dandy speedsters to get you where you need to go.
I sure can't wait to get Miss Sinclair for the old madam back in town. We've been hoping for this chance for a long time, haven't we, Buck? Yeah, me too. This'll be our big break. I just can't wait to see the look on Missy's face when a young and handsome cowboy like me comes to her rescue. When you and I are working together, Buck, nothing can get in our way. Whoa, boy, what's the matter? What the hell?
Cowboy!
The spirit warrior Dakota has beat Joe and his cavalry to the pass and has even laid waste to half of the hollerin' hootenannies on his own. Much to the surprise of Cowboy Joe, Dakota is locked in fisticuffs with Missy Sinclair at the top of the mountain ridge. A tirade of hooks and jabs catches Dakota off guard as he stumbles to the edge of the cliff, hanging on by just a thread. Trying to keep Missy Sinclair from sending Dakota to his doom, Joe approaches just in time.
Missy Sinclair? What in the name of Bill Cody's going on?
That Indian snuck up on our gang, arrows blazing.
Your gang?
Darn right. I'm the leader of the Howler Hootenannies. I'm making my big gangster break, stealing my family's fortune.
You're not making off with them diamonds. I'm gonna bring you into the law, and your ma promised me half the fortune.
You'll never get the fortune.
Joe lassos her as she falls to the ground. Just before he tosses her onto Buck, he is struck with the dilemma of either helping Dakota or leaving him and taking the outlaw back to town, keeping the glory for himself. With careful thought, he makes his choice.
Scalper, looks like you're in a bit of a bind.
Leave me, white man. I can rest in peace knowing the gang has been removed from the land.
Not so fast, friend. Give me that there hand of yours. Now, we make a good pair, pard. Truth be told, I was only in it for the fame, but you somehow turned the tables on me. Maybe I gained a pal more than I thought out in this here adventure.
My feelings toward the white man are still weary, but you, Joe, have brought great honor to our people. The great Hawk will guide and protect you until the end of our days.
I'll take that as a compliment, partner. I just wish I could have gotten my mitts on that fortune of Madam Sinclair's. With even half of the diamonds stolen, any old cowboy could live in luxury. I don't see any trace of them shiny bits around here.
Fortune, you say? You mentioned something amusing. I have acquired a parchment from the young lady after our encounter.
Let me take a gander. It's a map. I bet that's where them sparkly diamonds are.
Well, white man, are you feeling adventurous?
Always.
And there you have it, folks. Just when you thought that these two uncommon fellows were destined to fight forever, they overcame unsurmountable odds to join forces to stop the real enemy. Even through the fiercest disagreements that have seemed to last generations, man will always find a way to resolve their differences for the common good. Though our story here may be brief, there are many more adventures to come for our two favorite heroes, Cowboy Joe and Dakota the Spirit Warrior. Will they find the treasure? Who might they square off against next time in their journeys across the West? Tune in next week to find out.